Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone gave you feedback that genuinely helped you grow? Not the polite kind, not the you are doing fine, just keep it up kind, but the kind that made you pause, reflect, and say, yeah, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Chances are it doesn't happen often because in most organizations, feedback is broken. Either it's sugar coated till it means nothing, or it's delivered so harshly that it triggers fear instead of learning. Hi, I'm Shailesh, Kantak, Leadership and People Systems Coach and founder and CEO of Flexi Ventures Private Limited. I help entrepreneurs and business owners build strong teams and systems so they can scale their business without losing their people or their peace of mind. And today I want to talk about one of the most powerful yet most misunderstood aspects of leadership: feedback. Here's the problem. Most companies treat feedback like an annual ritual, not a daily culture. We wait for appraisals, performance reviews, or crisis situations to say what should have been said months ago. By then, it's too late. People either stop listening or start defending. And that's why most employees associate feedback with fear. They tense up when they hear "can we talk?" because feedback for them is a signal that something's wrong. But feedback done right is the opposite of fear. It's fuel for growth. Let's break this down. The first mistake most leaders make: they use feedback as a verdict, not as a conversation. Picture this. An employee walks into a review. You've already decided their rating. You made up your mind and now you are communicating the feedback. That's not feedback, that's judgment. And people can sense it instantly. They don't grow from verdicts, they grow from dialogue. Great leaders approach feedback with curiosity, not conclusion. Instead of saying you didn't meet expectations, they say, let's look at what made this outcome tough and how we can fix it together. Same message, but a completely different energy. When feedback becomes two-way, it shifts from threat to trust. The second mistake: vague praise or unclear criticism. You've probably heard managers say things like, good job, but you need to be more proactive. What does that even mean? To the person receiving it, nothing. People can't improve what they don't understand. Effective feedback is specific, behavior-based, and actionable. Instead of saying you need to be more proactive, say, last week we missed the client deadline because you waited for me to follow up. Next time, I'd like you to take ownership of the timeline and update me only if you hit a roadblock. That's clarity, that's growth. Remember, feedback should describe, not label. Describe what you saw, explain its impact, and suggest what to do next. That's it. The third mistake: saving feedback for the end. In high-performing teams, feedback happens every day, not every quarter. It's quick, casual, and consistent. One of the best leaders I ever worked had a rule. If I see something worth correcting, I'll do it within 24 hours. If I see something worth praising, I'll do it within 24 seconds. That's how you create a feedback culture. It's not about systems or HR tools. It's about speed and sincerity. When people know feedback is normal, not occasional, they stop fearing it. It becomes part of the rhythm. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin: leaders who can't take feedback. You can't build a feedback culture if you, as a leader, are defensive when feedback comes your way. When your team gives you input, don't justify, don't argue, just listen. Because if your people are brave enough to tell you the truth, that's gold. It means they still care. When people stop giving you feedback, it means they have given up. The best leaders I know have this quiet strength. They absorb feedback with openness and humility. They may disagree privately, but they never dismiss feedback publicly. That's how you build psychological safety, where people feel safe to speak up even when it's uncomfortable. Now, if you are a business owner or a manager wondering how do I start creating this kind of feedback culture, here's a simple framework I teach my clients. I call it the 3R model. 1. Real time. Feedback delayed is feedback diluted. Don't wait for formal reviews. Address behavior as it happens. A short 2-minute conversation right after a meeting is more impactful than a 30-minute discussion 2 months later. Number 2, respectful. Tone matters more than words. Feedback is not about proving you are right. It's about helping someone improve. If your tone sounds judgmental, even accurate feedback won't land. So instead of saying you are always making mistakes, say, I noticed this particular error. Let's figure out why it happened. Respect creates receptivity. And number 3, reflective. End every feedback conversation with a reflection. Ask what's your takeaway from this. It helps the person process and take ownership. Otherwise, feedback becomes an instruction, not a learning moment. And here's the part most leaders miss. Feedback isn't only top-down. It should flow 360 degrees. Managers should get feedback from their teams. Leaders should get feedback from peers. Even founders should get feedback from employees. Because the higher you go, the less honest feedback you receive, and that's dangerous. When leaders lose feedback, they lose perspective. And when they lose perspective, they start making decisions in isolation. So if you are serious about building a feedback-driven culture, make it safe for everyone to speak up, even to you. Let me share a story. I once coached the founder of a fast-growing tech company. He was brilliant, sharp, hardworking, visionary, but his team feared him. Nobody gave him honest feedback. He thought everything was fine until 2 of his best people resigned within a month. During our coaching session, he admitted, I think I've built a culture where people are scared to tell me the truth. That was his turning point. He started holding open feedback Fridays where anyone could share one improvement idea, anonymously or in person. At first it was awkward, but within a few months, magic happened. Communication opened up, team morale shot up, turnover dropped. Because when feedback becomes a habit, trust becomes automatic. And that's the real message I want to leave you with. Feedback isn't about fixing people, it's about freeing them. When you create a culture of fear, people stop taking risks. When you create a culture of feedback, people stop playing safe. They stretch, they experiment, they grow. And isn't that what every leader truly wants? A team that's constantly evolving, not because you push them, but because they want to. So here's my challenge to you. Starting tomorrow, give one piece of real feedback every day and ask for one in return. Do it for 21 days. Watch what happens to your team's energy, confidence, and connection. If this resonated with you, follow us for more actionable insights on leadership, people systems, and building high-performing teams. This is Shailesh Kantak signing off, reminding you that feedback isn't a tool for control. It is the language of growth.